I'm scrolling down, and a lot of people that I'm like cool with, like people just talking this talk about these quarterbacks. Like we're cool. We ain't like friends, but we cool, respectful. Hey, what's up? How you doing? Yeah. Boom. And I seen it like weeks ago, and like now it's got crazy. I'm like, yo, listen, man, I get it. The quarterback didn't play well. Just say that, cause you can't say that. Because if I start pulling your tape, and I start this, well, damn, what was you doing? Why was you this? You know what I mean? You got an answer to that. And I think sometimes, like certain players can take criticism from certain other players. And certain players can respect certain criticism from somebody that's critiquing the game. Mm-hmm. But when you coming too hard at a player and you want like that, that's tough for me. I'm being honest, that's tough. And another thing I was going to talk more about it, but I don't really tweet for like, likes and subscribes. I don't do all that. But a lot of these elite quarterbacks, I know. Mm-hmm. I know, like, I could text them, I could FaceTime, I could talk to them. And when I talk to them, they be speaking on some of these dudes that be hating so crazy, and a quarterback can't get on Twitter and Instagram and talk how they feel.
Hello and welcome to another Sports Spin, where we take a sports story and we spin it. I'm Sun-EB7 and thank you for joining. Yeah, so like the video said up at the front, the title, it says, somebody had to say it, because these people was getting out of control. Let me just say that I didn't just start thinking this, and they're not just now knowing this either. I think people got tired, and they started to say, speak out again. Let me tell you something. When you start listening to backup players about how to play the game, you just submitted yourself to understanding you know nothing, and you're lazy. You won't go. I'm not saying you have to listen to the experts all the time, but if you're gonna listen to a backup, fact check him. You see what I'm saying? You got a backup that's telling you what you're seeing on the TV. Now, I said this on one of my other programs. You believe 50% of what you hear and 100% of what you see. Now, the saying is different from that, but that saying is made to catch you sleeping. Why is that? If you believe, well, we won't go into it, because I can go into this, because I analyze that. This is what I was talking about, the difference in being lazy. When you listen to what someone says and you take it for face value instead of checking it. If you check it and you come back and he's right, you can listen to him. He has credibility. But just because he played does not make him an expert. I'm telling you. So that's what was driving me crazy, because there was a quarterback that was on Speak when that was a show. He's got his own YouTube channel. He was straight garbage. I'm not trying to be personal. His opinions was always just way off. And Dan Orlovsky, same thing. Now, he wasn't always like that. Dan Orlovsky actually had some really, really good takes, and all of a sudden he flipped, just like the coach, what's his name, with the twin brother? The wild dude. Something switches, and I really believe it's where they work. I do. I believe this is what you got to do. This is the job we put in front of you, so you got to have an opposite opinion. I don't believe they believe half of some of the things they say. Do I think Dan Orlovsky should have had to come out and apologize? No. Just do better. Don't give out them takes you don't even believe. You did not believe that. And here's another one for you. What did the experts say about Sam Darnold? Because he's in the Super Bowl now. Just wondering. Who believed it? Obviously, a lot of people believed it. He went to 3 or 4 teams, 4, maybe 5. He got skipped all around the league, and now he's in the Super Bowl. You got quarterbacks that were picked number 1 and number 2 and number 5, and they're not in the Super Bowl. But this guy is. You see? Watch what you see. I'm not sitting here saying I thought Sam Darnold would go to the Super Bowl. I ain't thinking that, but I did say a long time ago, I said Minnesota made a mistake on that one. Because he was actually better than the rest of the quarterbacks they had. Yes, he has these spots where he throws 35 interceptions in a game. But what does he do in between that when he has another game? He does way better. And we all know coaching has something to do with it too. If you don't have the right coaching staff, a good quarterback will become bad. If you get the right coaching staff, a decent quarterback will become expert. It's just the way it is. That said, I said this. You cannot just listen to people, what they tell you, and they so-called experts, because there's a lot of people around here telling you something is true, but he don't have credentials, so you think he doesn't know. But that's okay. I'm glad that Shady said it, because I think a lot of people have to worry about who's paying them, so they can't say certain things. I've been saying this a long time. The freedom of speech, whatever, you can call it what you want, but it ain't there, because when you get on a station like the ones they're on, the people who pay them, they can't say it. That's the freedom not to speak, but it's okay, because I understand having to do what your job requires you to do. I get it. I don't know if I could sign up for that. I think if I have an opinion, that's the one I'm giving. I don't give a damn what they say, but that's how I feel now. But enough zeros on a check might change that. I can't promise you, but I will say this right now. Oh yeah, I'll say what needs to be said, and that's what needed to be said. Shady said it. He's one of those. He's a guy that tells you what it is. He doesn't sugarcoat it, and he doesn't, he's not disrespectful about it. It's just like what I just said. Dan Orlovsky's a good guy. He's a terrible take. If you have to apologize for your take, it's bad. Because no one can have to apologize for being wrong. Like, no one's going to apologize for being wrong about Sam Darnold. But when your take is that bad and you're supposed to have credibility because you played in that league. And here's another thing. People trying to, now I'm not going to say who, but somebody's trying to give you the idea that a backup quarterback in the NFL is an expert. No, he is not. The reason he's a backup is because he didn't do what he's supposed to do really well. You think because he made it in there, you know what? Your goal when you go into a league, I don't give a damn what league it is. Your goal is to get out there and be in the starting lineup and to be the best. That's your goal. If you fall short of that, you couldn't live up to that goal. So therefore, and look, backup quarterbacks have, I remember a couple backup quarterbacks that wound up being great coaches. That doesn't mean that they were that when they was a backup. They just learned the game. Phil Jackson was a decent power forward or small forward. He was power forward, I think. He wound up winning 6 championships coaching. So, no, he won 8. He won 8. But either way, my point here is this. Nobody's saying Dan Orlovsky can't know the game, because he can. Just like anybody else watching. But understand that that's how he knows the game. He knows the game from watching, not playing. He didn't play. He was a backup. He might have got a game in here and a game in there or a few games because of an injury, but he was not a starting quarterback in the league. Therefore, he's seeing it from a backup's perspective. But when you notice, they didn't ask, when they talked about certain people, certain quarterbacks, do they ask the great ones? No, because the great one's going to tell you something different. They're not going to get the narrative they want by asking the great ones. So they asked the backups, because the backups ain't got shit to lose. Nobody like them anyway. They weren't good. You can say, well, you didn't play in the league. I didn't lose either. All I'm saying is this. Anybody can have an opinion. And to me, a backup's opinion ain't no better than mine. He was in the camp. He can tell you who suits up and where they go and what the facilities look like. But when you get on that field, it's on TV and it's you stand in front of it. There's nothing different from what I see on this television than what you see from the sideline. We're both watching the game. Yeah. So when you're playing the game, then you're an expert, because you beat out everybody. Put them on. No discredit to Dan Orlovsky. But let's face it, it is what it is. You out there putting out these strong opinions about quarterbacks. If you knew that much about quarterbacking, wouldn't you be starting? Now, let's do this. Let's say it's not about what he knows, it's how he feels. Because that's the problem here. It's not It's not whether Dan Orlovsky can break down a play. Yes, he knows quarterbacking, but his feelings toward quarterbacking is different because he watched from the sideline. When you're in the game and the throws they're having you make, when you're good, when you're a starting quarterback, you have a different appreciation for another guy making that throw. I'll give you an example. I'm a quarterback. I get in there and a guy is running. He's running an out between a high safety, being over the top of his receiver, his number one receiver. He's running an out. Got a high safety and he's got a corner in his face. He's got to get between them. I've got to hit him right in the middle. If I miss him, the safety's going to pick up an interception. If I throw it too short, the corner's going to get the interception. I got to make that throw. It's 15 to 20 yards to the out. I got to throw it somewhere where only the receiver can catch it, or else it goes out of bounds. If I make that throw, cool. When I see another quarterback make that throw, people say, oh, he threw an out. And you're thinking, no, he didn't just throw an out. There was a high safety and a corner underneath in a cover two. He had to make that throw perfect, or it wasn't going to happen. No, he made that throw. You see the difference in your perspective when you can do it than when you have to watch somebody else do it? That's all I'm talking about. I'm not here to say I'm an NFL player. I'm simply saying it's kind of unnerving. What Shady was reflecting was a lot of us watching, going, what the hell is he talking about? Just so people know, the game of football is played all over the country, all over the world. People say they like to use credibility things. Like, for instance, I'm a doctor. I'm not. But if I was a medical doctor, I would tell you what the cure is for a certain disease or a certain illness or injury. You would believe me because I'm a doctor. You go get that procedure and you lose your leg. What happened? Yeah. Because he's a doctor doesn't mean he's your doctor. It doesn't mean he knows everyone. It just means he's at that level. That's what I akin a backup quarterback to. He's a quarterback. He's on an NFL team. Doesn't mean he knows situations because he didn't get there. He didn't get to do it. There's high pressure games. There's high pressure situations that you don't get from the sideline. You get to watch. So again, this is not to hammer Orlovsky, but they should be getting this because why? You should be more responsible with your takes. When you're who you are, I don't have to be. Who's listening? But where he is, he has to be that because people are listening and thinking that you're a professional at what you do. And when you have to come on and say, I apologize, I totally screwed that up. What that tells me is if you screwed up something you're supposed to be a specialist at doing, how special are you? All that aside, you can tell I had some caffeine today. My energy is way up there. Dan Orlovsky's a good guy. When people come at you for things like this, it's usually because you said something that's out of character for you. I think I've seen Dan Orlovsky break down a play. He can break down a play. I think Dan Orlovsky could be a good coach. I really do. I don't know if he's even considering that, but I actually think he could be a good coach. Offensive. He's offensive minded. Of course, he's a quarterback. And so he can, I think Dan Orlovsky could be a good coach. But other than that, the emotions that you're applying into a take from being the backup versus the emotions, like for instance, they don't ask Joe Burrow his opinion about quarterbacks because he's going to give them the benefit of the doubt. He's going to say, hey, that's going to be a good player. He knows and appreciates what it takes to beat out everybody and get on the field. That's why they don't ask him. They rather ask the backup quarterbacks, the one from Kansas City, another one. These backup quarterbacks will give you high blood pressure. What are you asking the backup for? When you ask about running backs, you don't ask backup running backs. You ask the starters. You ask the Emmitt Smiths you ask all the experts when it's a running back, but when it's a quarterback, you'll go to a backup quarterback to ask his opinion about a quarterback and his play. Yeah, tell me there ain't something wrong with that. Yeah, you don't have to see it. I don't give a damn. I see it. And that said, that's all I got for today. Hope you liked the video. Hope you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, take care. And just remember, this sports story has been spun